Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, Instagram. It is 9:30 on Thursday. Sorry we're a little late, guys. I feel like it's probably, I'm just going to blame this one on the weather. I see everyone is calling in and dialing in from places where it is cold. Even Florida, but they haven't got snow. I was in Texas 2 weeks ago and they got snow. And so, left is right, up is down, cold is just really darn cold. We checked the forecast this morning. It's going to start at 32 degrees today and only get colder as the day goes on. I love it when 6 a.m. is the warmest part of our day. All right, that's okay. All this polar vortex stuff is going to be leaving soon, and then we'll be back to your regularly scheduled winter weather. All right, good morning, everybody. First, we're going to start with, are we going to hear any planes? I actually haven't heard any planes this morning. I have a feeling St. Louis has, as the machine that shall not be named told us, an abundance of cloudy weather. So I'll be interested to see how many planes we actually hear in the shop today. Paul is going to post them as we go. Let us know how many planes you think we're going to hear today. All right, that's always just something fun, guys. There's no like winning or losing. It's just how many planes do you think we're going to hear? In the background, we are also having fun stuff happening. So we're going to get to the new machine that is working right now. Every now and then you're going to hear some movement of that machine, and they're installing some back doors in our back hallway. So you just never know what's going to happen. All right. We're going to start, as we always do, with questions that have been submitted by you guys. These questions come to us from cottoncuts.com/live. Head on over there, ask a question. These are sitting on the table when I sit down on Thursday. I don't see them ahead of time. I could be surprised. Who knows? We're all going to learn something new here in just a minute. So our first question comes to us from Angie Cunningham in Pensacola, Florida. Man, Angie, if you were watching us, comment if you got snow today, because I guarantee you Florida probably doesn't have an infrastructure to support that. Okay, so Angie asks, my 9-year-old daughter and I are making a bag from scraps of fabric. I love that. My kids were sewing at 9 too. What kind of batting should I use in between the fabric to give it a little bit of a puffy effect? Oh, that's a fantastic question. Okay, so usually when I make bags, the stabilizer determines kind of the shape of bag that I want to use. And so if I want it to be soft and floppy, I'll use batting. If I want it to have a little bit more structure and be more rigid, I'll use a more rigid, more denser, almost cardboard-like stabilizer. I get all my stabilizer from Joann's. I don't know what I'm going to do in a couple months. When that doesn't happen, I will probably have to buy online at Amazon. But I would say, or even shop my local quilt shop, but that's not something carried by local quilt shops. So I think we'll all have to figure out how we get our stabilizers going forward. But so getting back to Angie's question, so she wants to have a little bit of a puffy effect. And so when I hear those words, I immediately go back to the quilts I made as a young child, when the only batting that was available was 3-inch loft polyester binding. And that's all we were able to use in our quilts before the world of cotton batting and rolls came out. And so if you are making a bag and you want it to have a little bit of a puffy effect, definitely use a higher loft batting. Loft determines the height of the batting. And so high loft, like I am showing you about 3 inches. There is literally 3-inch polyester loft banding, if you can find it, that will make it very, very poofy. Now, if you're using polyester, you don't have to quilt it as close, so you can definitely keep more of that loft rather than a very, very tightly stitched quilted piece that you would have to use if you were using a lower loft material, or perhaps something that was more cotton and you might need to stitch a little closer together. It's interesting, Angie, that you mentioned this question, because I am seeing that puff quilts are making a comeback. On our team, Karen she joined our team over the holidays. She lives in Chicago. She's doing a whole bunch of fantastic work for us. She's actually going to make one of the puff quilts and write a blog about it and do some video tutorials. So puff quilts are making a comeback. I never thought I would see those come back, but they are definitely coming back. So if you guys see more puff quilts, definitely know that you're going to be seeing a little bit of that from us. Puff quilts definitely have a higher loft batting that goes into those. So definitely be kind of seeing higher loft batting come back into trend. I'm sure there's probably some element of cost that comes into that. Polyester batting is typically cheaper than cotton. And so in that case, we might see a little bit more of this. You never know. All right. Thanks so much for your question, Angie. I hope you enjoy sewing with your daughter. And I can't wait to see pictures of that bag that you guys make. Our next question comes from Hannah Flint from Birmingham, Alabama. Thanks so much for your question, Hannah. I'm so excited about the new PMQ. I hear you can prepay until February 7th, but when do all signups close? I'm wanting to get a couple of friends to join me and sew Songbird. Okay, so love Songbird. That's a beautiful colorway. Fantastic choice, Hannah. Okay, so the way that we're doing Flyaway, which is different than Mysteries in the past, is that we are only going to be offering prepaid as an option where you, here, I'm going to actually do this, where you get all of your clues in this fantastic little box. We're only going to do this through Clue 1 shipping. Then every sign up after that will be automatically month to month, and you'll get your clues one at a time. So we're doing this for a couple of reasons. So we can do these in large quantities up until Clue 1 ships, but everyone that signs up afterwards, it takes one person one full day to make these if we're making them one at a time. And so it's one of those things. Our team is doing it this time this way because we know we can do this at a high volume, at a high quality, and get everything out and as fast as possible. But if we drag that out, then it pushes all of our other projects behind, and we want to try and stay on track as possible with all of your shipments. So if you want to prepay, the last day to do that is February 7th. However, like with all of our mysteries, we close signups at Clue 3 for Flyaway. And so you can definitely sign up between February 7th and April. I'll make it up the first Friday in April. You can definitely sign up in that window. It's just all going to be month to month. You'll have to wait each month to get those clues. I guess, I love Happy Mail. We actually have some people that prepay but still want us to send it to them monthly because they like that Happy Mail that they get from the mail carrier. You guys, you do you, whatever makes you happy. But just know that if you want it to come in the handy dandy box with everything together and get your clues emailed, you have to do that before February 7th. Hannah, this is also, if you have a couple of friends, this is a fantastic opportunity to talk about our group. So if you have a group of people that are all sewing the same mystery, we have a special group purchase program. And so what we can do is your group will designate one person. That point person will handle all of your memberships, will let us know who's participating, and then we mail everything each month to that point person. And then they're in charge of distributing it out to everybody. So Hannah, if that works where you are, if your friends are all co-located together and you want to get together and sew, we'll ship everything each month directly to your point person. That way you're not sewing with a group and someone gets their clue before yours and everyone can sew and you feel left out. We've heard that so many times from people because the mail has been unfortunately variable. And so we don't want anyone who's participating in our mysteries with the group to feel left out when everyone else gets their clues and they don't. So the group purchase, plus there's a little discount, right? There's a little bit of an incentive to do that. So we'll mail everything to the one point person. They distribute it out to everybody in the group. And then there's a little bit of a discount. Everyone gets to sew together. Like that feels like a very good solution to something that some of our members, some of our detectives have really been struggling with. All right, I'm going to take a look at the comments. Let's see here. Rachel was going to ask that too. It's one for her mom for the month to month. So yes, so Rachel, you can definitely sign up month to month today. There's nothing on the website that will prohibit you from signing up today. So you can sign up today through Clue 2 is when we keep signups open because we have to shut down Flyaway because the next one's coming. Okay, Julie Gear is asking Wild West, her first mystery quilt ever. So is there a suggested final layout or is it up to us? Okay, so Clue 10 is going to come and it's going to tell you exactly where to put all your parts and pieces. So you're sewing along and you've got month 1 and you put it back in its bag or its box and you got month 2 and you have month 3. And so Clue 10 is going to be the one that's going to tell you to sew Clue 4 to 7 to 6 to 3 to 2, sew them together, and then stack it on top of 1, 4, 6, and 8. I'm making those numbers up, guys. That's not the real answer. Don't listen to this. That's not going to get you a finished quilt. That's just an example of what it's going to look like for Clue 10. So the layout is the same for everybody. The small it's not a smaller version of the large. The larger just has extra parts and pieces to continue the design around the whole side. So that's the difference between a small and a large. That's a very common question we get asked. Now, Julie, so Wild West is a traditional puzzle mystery quilt for us. That's the way it's always worked. We are going to be starting a new mini mystery this summer you're going to have your choice of 2 different layouts. You're going to sew all the parts and pieces, and we're actually going to give you a choice of what you want your final layout to be. So stay tuned for that. That's going to come in July. We've seen the initial designs from our design partner on that project, and it's going to be a ton of fun. But for that one, For the new month-long mysteries that we're going to be launching this summer, you will have your choice between 2 different layouts. And of course, multiple colorways, because that's the way we do things, and everything will be pre-cut because that's the way we do that too. All right, Diane is showing appreciation for her mom's monthly Happy Mail. Fantastic. Let's see here. So Terry, you prepaid so you can get all the fabrics at once. Yeah, the mail has been absolutely bonkers. I'm working the help desk. Carrie is still out on medical leave. And so it's amazing that when I see the tracking on these packages that go from St. Louis to Chicago to Louisiana to California when they're supposed to go to Maryland, or just these packages that sit somewhere in St. Louis, I have no idea, for multiple weeks. Our mail here shut down for a full week. For a full week, we did not have any mail service. There was no pickup, there was no delivery, because on the one clear day we had, it was Jimmy Carter's Memorial Day. And so literally for a whole week, no mail moved in the entire St. Louis system. That's already after all the holiday backlog, you guys. So it has just been a crazy mail time. I am really hoping good weather and smooth sailing so we can start getting things out in the mail to you guys. Let's see here. Yeah, Jana. Oh, that's a fantastic point. Yeah, going back to Julie, you can really lay it out however you want. We have people make changes all the time. It's a you do you. I'm not going to police your final design until you did anything wrong, because it's your quilt. And if you love it, then that's all that really matters. Rachel, clue 2 or 3 for the month to month. So you just before clue 3. So what happens is we'll ship out clue 1 and say you sign up the next week. We'll get you all caught up from a money perspective, and everyone moves through the mystery together. So if you do sign up at clue 3, you're going to get 1, 2, and 3 all at the same time. So everyone is on track and finishes at the same time. Lori is asking if we're going to continue to use the same designer for future quilts. Yes. So for our 10-month-long mysteries, I want to make sure everyone's with me on this. So we're going to continue to do the 10-month pre-cut mysteries. Sheila is still our primary partner for that. And that works for someone like me, right? I don't have a lot of time to sew. If you're going to email me a clue every week, it's going to sit there and I am going to get to it in months. But the 10-month, where you get 1 clue a month, it's 30 to 45 minutes. We are definitely still going to be doing that program, and it is still going to make, you know, the 2 sizes of quilts with the borders and have the big reveals and all of the things. So that Sheila is still going to be our design partner for our 10-month program. But we're doing something on a shorter scale. We've gotten feedback from folks that are like, I love the puzzle mystery quilt, but 10 months is a long time. I am an instant gratification person, and I want to get a project and have it done. And that faster pace definitely works for a different person. And so we want to make sure that we're trying something new for other detectives as well. But we will definitely still have the longer duration puzzle mystery quilt that's going to keep going on. Let's see here. So Terry's saying she had something mailed from New York to New Jersey, but it went to California first. Yes, these frequent flyer miles on these packages, guys, man, we would have lots of perks. All right. And good morning, Mitzi from Northeast Georgia. I bet you it's cold where you are too. All right. I think that's everything from those questions. Look at that, guys, like 2 questions, and here we are up in all these rabbit holes. Thank you guys so much for these questions. If you have a question for us next week, go to cottoncuts.com/live, submit it there. Paula will filter through them, and she gives me 2 random ones. Don't forget to give StreamYard your permissions. It looks like everyone's doing a fantastic job on that. I can see all the comments. I can see everyone participating. But if this is your first time, be sure to give permission so we can see your name and engage with you everywhere. Good morning, Joyce. It's definitely cold in Alabama, I know for sure. All right, don't forget to stay to the end. We're going to give away a $25 gift card to our shop. I have a couple more things to go through. Then we're going to talk about pillows, which is going to be so much fun, you guys. I have samples of pillows that I've made for my boys, and we're going to see kind of different ways to sew and finish our pillows and learn from each other. So definitely stay to the end. We're going to give away a $25 gift card to our shop, and don't forget to like and share. I know that that's something Melissa Feldhaus is usually good at reminding us. Don't forget to like and share this video so that way more people can see it. Okay, what's happening in the shop? So this week is we're all PMQ all the time in the shop. We are all flyaway. And so we have lots and lots and lots of die cutting for flyaway going on right now. We're going to get a tracker up on Monday so you guys can see where your colorways are if you've prepaid in the process. And so we have a new machine. Paula has been capturing video like nobody's business of this new machine that we've got going on. It is fantastic. It is amazing. It cuts 4 times as many parts and pieces in like 1/10 of the time. It is amazing. It is awesome. Now, let's see here. Rachel's asking the question that I'm getting to. So can we order snippets or oopsies for colorways we did not order if we want a little bit of fabric, or would that be too unfair potentially? So I don't think there's any fairness to that, Rachel. So we, for Wild West, we offered stitches in the Wild West colorways. Snippets. We offered snippets in Wild West colorways. So that way, if you were doing Gold Rush, you could subscribe to a Gold Rush snippet, and each month we would send you die cut parts and pieces from that colorway. So if you wanted to add accent pieces or backing, or to Jana's point, if you wanted to make it your own, or if there's a colorway you missed out on, you could order a snippet in that colorway and get parts and pieces and have a little bit of burst of joy every month from a new colorway. We are going to be having to change that for Flyaway. I know there's a lot of people that like that and have been asking about Flyaway snippets. And so what we're going to do this time is we're still evaluating this. So this is like hot off the press, like could change in a week, but we're looking at offering strip packs from our snippet. So you guys know snippets are because we hate throwing away fabric. We don't want to throw away fabric. It's super bad. I'm a quilter. It burns my soul to think about throwing away any fabric. Plus it's wasteful and all the toxicity and recyclability, all that stuff. So I want to show you what we're working with. So here's actually what a new snippet looks like on the new machine. So you guys can see. So if you have a longtime snippet lover, like this is different, right? We've got some real darn long pieces up in here. And so what we want to do, we can't do a traditional snippet with this because this piece is heavier. And so snippets, one of the benefits of them is they're less than a pound. So the shipping is less than if it pushes over a pound. We could probably put 3 of these in the mail to you in a snippet. That's not super great or super exciting. So what our team is going to do is we're evaluating right now a process whereby we actually cut out the larger pieces. So like that center chunk right here, this is a fantastic piece of fabric, as well as this end over here. We're going to see if we can extract out the super high valuable pieces of the snippets and put together strip packs and do those instead, and do those by colorway. So stay tuned on that. We're testing some as these parts and pieces are coming off the die cutter. We're testing them now to see if that's a viable option. Just the traditional snippet is not going to work because these pieces are so big and they're so heavy, and you're not going to get what you're used to getting, and it probably won't make you as happy. So we're going to try a little something different this time. Stay tuned. But our commitment is still the same. We don't throw away fabric. We don't waste fabric. Even if we cut out those long, valuable strips, all the other pieces get donated to organizations that make dog beds and make rabbit beds and put together, like these pieces here, I know for sure, like this piece right here, like this, I mean, as a quilter, you might be able to find something super fun to do with that narrow piece. You could do some improv blocks, but this piece would actually be used by an organization that knits projects for homeless women and children. And so I know we have those folks in our pipeline, and they would love this to be able to knit and crochet projects. All right. I'm checking comments. Okay, you guys like the strip packs. All right, so we'll definitely see about putting together those strips. I think that might be a more fun and interesting way of doing it. But stay tuned for that. And also, because our snippets are going this way, get in on the snippet membership if you haven't already, because that one we might have to start cap and doing wait lists on, because we're not going to be generating as much snippet scraps as we used to. Mind you, we still have all of our old die cutters. Those guys are still going to be cutting, and we're still going to have some parts. But definitely stay tuned. More coming. But good things, because this new machine is going to start die cutting like 10 days worth of work in a day. I'm super excited. Okay, Tim Holtz. All right, so Tim Holtz oranges, we're somehow stuck. It's fine. They're moving now. I think we started tracking and they're starting to move, which is great and fine and awesome. And so now it's time for our next quarterly release for Tim Holtz. So stay tuned. In the next week, we're going to have yellow, neutral, and green. So those block of the months are going to start shipping out on the 8th of February is when yellow is going to come. And then we're going to have our pillows and our stitches as well. So check to make sure for Tim Holtz. Those will be on the website coming soon. I have no doubt Paula is going to put it all over the social media, in emails. You guys are going to know when those drop so you can get in and get those ordered. Let's see here. Yeah, Joyce, it was amazing about the amount of fabric I got in previous snippets. Yes, and so it is a lot. And I use them for foundation paper piecing too, Mitzi. It's just, I am worried in this situation that we're not going to get enough variability if we just bag them up like we always have. So stay tuned for that one. All right, Floral States, if you guys can believe it, like we're already getting so close to month 10 of our Floral States program. And so each month it's been 5 states. We have just 10 more states to go. So we are going to have our big reveal and showcase in March. So you're going to want to mark your calendars for that. We're going to show you both layouts. So we have, for that program, we set it up such that you would have a layout of all 50 blocks in a grid or on point, so as a diamond, set up kind of like the American flag. And so we're going to send you all the finishing kits for those per your layout that you've decided. March is coming fast, gang. We have like 3 racks over here of all the blue fabric that's going to be strips coming soon for that. Floral States, super fun. I love the pictures I'm seeing on social media. I love that you guys are loving these. Those cute little blocks are so fun. It is just so much fun to sit and sew those, and in like 10 minutes you have a block, and it's so easy, so much fun. I'm learning new skills as I am doing it, and I cannot wait to see you guys get yours done as well. Greta's asking, are boosters going to be available for Tim Holtz? Yes. So as we post yellow, neutral, and green, we're going to be doing those booster kits with the background fabric so you can customize and make the blocks your own. I love what I'm seeing on that. I know we wanted to do we did the Sawtooth Star, which is a fantastic pattern, and you guys definitely can do that if that's your jam. But I love seeing you guys take those pre-cut pieces and making them something else, which is fun and fantastic because you're letting the fabric inspire you, and that is a win. All right, Josie is asking a question. I'm going to ask, because I know we've got lots of Tim Holtz detectives on here. How do you keep it from fraying? She's having difficulty with it. And so, Josie, I'm going to post that to the group. I have not had problems with the Tim Holtz fraying. I know the more it's handled, the more it's stitched, that perhaps if you're putting it on a design wall, that it could fray a little bit more. But I'd be interested to see if other people are having problems with the fabric fraying. So if you have that, definitely comment in the group and we will share with everybody. All right, Wild West. It seems like forever since we talked about Wild West. So Wild West Clue 7 is shipping next Friday. You guys, Clue 7, like we're 3/4 of the way done, guys. It is getting real darn close. All right. We also have retreat signups, and so today should have that issue solved with the month to month. So we will be replying to everybody. And I feel like Sonoma is over halfway sold out. So you're going to want to get in if you want to join us in Sonoma. We've got a fantastic group joining us for that retreat. I actually was talking to Dominic last night about New Orleans and Sonoma, and he's like, so you're booking my airfare ticket too, right, Mom? So maybe Boy Who Sews can get some time off school and join us for those retreats as well. Tomorrow we are bringing back, what's that? What's that? Well, I mean, no. So Paula was like, they're in the summer. He doesn't have to miss school. And so my kids are dorks. They take summer school. And so in New Orleans, I think New Orleans, he might not miss any summer school. But for Sonoma, he definitely have to miss school. That's September, woman. Come on now. All right. Let's see here. So, quick reminder, tomorrow we're having another YouTube live sale. So we did a ton of these in December. We had to take a break with all of my travel and all of the crazy things that are going on. But tomorrow we're going to have a live sale. I believe the theme is fortune teller mystics. Paula came up with this, guys. You got to bear with me. I'm going to have to drink something really hard tomorrow to get through this. But we are doing Stitch It kits. And so we're going to take and we're going to pair up kind of a Stitch It Super with a Stitch It Quick or Mini. I'll know more about this tomorrow. Give me 24 hours. And we're going to give free patterns. And the concept is that with a Stitch It, it's like looking into a crystal ball. You can make whatever you want with it. And so definitely join us for the live sale tomorrow. They'll be fun. There'll be giveaways. It'll be great stuff. The last thing I have on my list, it was National Hugging Day this week. These are things Paula finds for us, like National Hugging Day. And today's National Pie Day, which I call shenanigans on. Okay, so we're going to stick on hugging and then we'll get back to Pie Day. Okay, so it was National Hugging Day. And so I don't know where this comes from, but so we have our Huggable and Lovable books, which are part of our Cuddle memberships. And so we have new cute bundles on those that are there. There's only a limited number of those, guys. If you like making these super stinking cute little books, which I know Dominic had a ton of fun making these. All right, Marlene is suggesting I do an espresso martini for tomorrow. So I'll let Paula get on that one. That sounds fantastic. Welcome, Sonia, first time here. Michigan, I'm sure it's everywhere it's cold. Everywhere it's cold. Judy is dialing in from Mexico. Holy cow, it's probably one of the few places that's actually warm. Okay. Jana is saying she didn't notice any excessive fraying with Tim Holtz. Okay, yeah, Rachel, let's come back to this Pie Day thing. All right, so Paula is telling me tomorrow is Pie Day. like PIE day. And every single person here was like, we're math science dorks. And we're like, no, that's March 14th. That's 3.14, which is the shortened version of pi. And of course we live in St. Louis. So Pi Day is always like deep dish pie. Everyone, see, look, they're on my side, Paula. Today is not Pi Day, gang. I mean, I guess it's pie if you. Oh, so according to Facebook, which is never wrong because the internet tells the truth all the time. So today is evidently Pi Day. No, they're saying Pi Day is March 14th. I'm with these people. You guys are my people. Thank you. I love you guys. Okay. All right. All right. We're going to move on from that. All right. We're going to talk today about pillows. All right. So pillows are they're a fun kind of quilting adjacent project. And so we've had a couple pillows that we've launched here recently at Cotton Cuts. We had a Frosty Pine pillow. We're doing Tim Holtz pillow kits. And Paula thought it was a fantastic idea to talk about kind of the world of pillows. Now, as I am going to say when we do any of these topics, this is scratching the surface of a very deep rabbit hole you can go down on pillows, pillow making, pillow designs. But I want to give you enough to be excited to go down that rabbit hole, to go learn more about pillows, and to go kind of see what else what we can do with all these pillows. I think, Paula, they're definitely March 14th. You're like, eh. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about kind of different phases of pillow making. And so first, Paula wants me to ask you guys a question. What is your biggest challenge with sewing pillows? Go ahead and put that in the comments, and we'll see if as we go through these topics, we can kind of knock some of them off of the table. So the first thing to decide when you're making a pillow is what is the finished size. Now, sizing on the pillows are usually in even increments. So it's usually a 16, an 18, a 20, a 22. Most of your pillow patterns that you find online are going to be in even inch increments, and they're usually square. I know Riley Blake is doing a whole bunch of kind of pillows that are meant to go on benches that are a little more rectangular, but common sizes are even increments, and they're usually square. Now, when you look at a pillow, you can go the very traditional method of going to a quilt shop, finding a pillow pattern, grabbing it off the rack, and making that as your pillow front. When you're looking at the design of your pillow, you can do that. However, I want to encourage you to maybe look at things that could be pillows that aren't traditionally pillows. And so there's taking a mini quilt. Mini quilts are all over the internet. They're meant to be kind of wall hangings. I think we have like 6 or 7 hanging around the shops that are mini quilts that with just a few minor modifications can become a pillow and become useful and have something that can be decorative or useful however you see fit. Or if you have a favorite block and you love this block, you can scale it up and it can become a pillow just like that. That's what we do with the Sawtooth Star for Tim Holtz. It's a fantastic universal utility block. All we did was scale it up, and now it's a pillow. And so, piping, Beth Ann, we're going to come back to piping. Thank you for putting that out there. So when it comes to what you want to put on the front of your pillow, there's so many places outside of traditional, I see a pillow pattern, or I have a pillow book, or I see on Instagram a pillow. Anything can be really made into a pillow. Even one of our mystery quilts, if you want to get a stitch it or a snip it and cut it down, you can actually make it into a pillow, which is exactly what Cheryl did. She took one of our snippets and she made the fantastic pillow that's in the front of this show that matches her puzzle mystery quilt. She used the stitches and she just made it a square, and then all of a sudden she had a pillow. Greta, ruffles. Okay, that's a challenge. I'll scratch the surface on that one at the end when we get there. Please remind me to come back to it. All right. So when it comes, it's really just a quilt. If you're looking at the pillow on the front, it is going to be a quilt. And so we have a couple different designs here of pillows that have been created. And I kind of want to walk through the thought process we went through as we created the design for each one of them on the front, and then talk about some fabric selection choices. So the first one I'm going to show you is Frosty Pine. And so this is the guy that we had exclusively designed for Cotton Cuts via Heidi Pridemore. And so this is pre-cut. It's in the shop right now. Guys, I'm going to tell you it's 10% off now through the weekend automatically. No codes. Just go ahead and check it out. But this is the Frosty Pine pillow. So this is done with batiks. I like batiks and pillows because they don't fray as much. And so when we were talking about fraying, in a pillow, right? If it's going to be in a heavy use situation, if it's on a couch where someone's going to be using it to lay on, if it's going to be on a bed, if it's going to be somewhere where it's going to get maybe even outside, pillows for outside, if it's going to be in a heavy use situation, a batik you cannot go wrong with, because it's not going to fray as much. It's going to be very durable. That closer, tighter weave is going to give it additional strength that you might not get with a traditional quilting cotton. So in this pillow, right, it's all pieced. This pillow was pieced, and then it has a filler in it. It was not quilted. And so I want to show you the difference. So this pillow was just pieced, and then it was constructed into a pillow. This is, I'm going to tell you guys, this is the infamous green pillow that Dominic asked me to make when I realized I hated green. That was my big aha moment with this, was he wanted me to make him a pillow using greens, and I realized I didn't have a lot of greens in my stash. And so I'm going to show you guys this pillow. It's like 10 years old, guys. It's been well loved. But for this pillow, I had a pattern that I found online, and I used a whole bunch of green scraps. I think this exhausted all the green that I had in my stash, gang. Like, that's literally all I had. And for this one, I actually quilted this block when I finished sewing it. So I didn't quilt it very much. I just stitched in the ditch here, but I wanted it to have a little bit of extra texture on the front. And so I used a thin cotton batting and a muslin on the back, because I didn't, on the inside of my pillow, I didn't want to have those unfinished stitches showing. I wanted it to have a cleaner finish on the inside. So I actually just pretended like this was a mini quilt, and I pieced it just like you normally would. I put the batting in there, put the muslin on the backing, and quilted it so it have a nice finished look on the inside. Let's see here. We're getting a comment about Mitzi doesn't like green either. You are after my own heart. Thank you. Usually use fat quarters for pillows, and I agree larger blocks for pillows are even a favorite panel. You're looking at my next pillow. We're going to come back to panels in a minute. Okay. So when it comes down to the construction of the actual top, you can just piece it. That is absolutely a-okay. And then you'll just have all your unfinished edges on the back side, and you can put your pillow form right up next to that, or you can actually quilt it. And then you can get all crazy and do all sorts of crazy quilting designs if you do choose to quilt that top. Yes, Julie, I remember green is your favorite color. I know. Okay. Now, once you have your top done, right? So if you choose to just piece it and leave it, or if you're going to actually quilt it, I put muslin on the back of mine, guys. It's not going to be on the inside of a pillow. Nobody's going to see it, right? You're just using it there as stabilizer, so that way the batting isn't on the inside rubbing against your pillow form. So I just use a cheap muslin on the inside. So once you get that done, now we need to talk about ways to actually finish it. And so what we're going to talk about first is the closures that are different types of closures that can be used for pillows. And then next we're going to talk about pillow forms that can be put inside of it. And then we're going to talk about the perimeter piece. Okay. When I was growing up in home ec, we made pillows. That was part of the curriculum in class, right? You used the sewing machine, you made a pillow. And literally all we did was take 2 pieces of fabric, we sewed around the outside, we left about 3 inches open on the bottom, we turned it, and we stuffed it with polyfill. I think that's the way everyone made pillows back in the day, right? Was that you stuffed it, and you would literally it would take like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to put enough polyfill in a pillow to fill it. And then you would hand whip stitch it closed, right? That is how literally every pillow I ever made in high school and college. And then I learned that pillow forms were a thing. And so what a pillow form is it's basically that, but it's already like stuffed and sealed for me. And so these are completely off the shelf items. You can get these on Amazon. You can get these at Joann's. You can get these in lots of different places, but you can get a pillow form to actually stuff your quilt. Now, when you're getting a pillow form for your pillow, make sure you size it up. So you want to definitely be getting it to be 1 inch or 2 bigger than your finished pillow size. And that makes it nice and floofy and together. If you get it too small or the exact size of your pillow, it's going to be a little floppy, which might work for you. You might want the super stuffed look, but you also might want something that's a little floppier, a little softer. Just take that into consideration. If your block is 18 inches, you don't have to get an 18-inch pillow form. You can size that up, you can size that down. Now, pillow forms are the version I showed you. However, anything can be used to stuff the inside of a pillow. I was at Quilt Market, and as part of the showcases, the designers bring out all their fabrics and all their projects, and they all have pillows. and they actually stuffed them with hotel pillows because they didn't want to have to transport a pillow form in their carry-on bags. So they actually just grabbed the pillows off the beds at the hotel and used those to stuff their pillows. And so if worst case scenario, like just go grab a pillow at Target and use that, fold it in half, stuff it inside your pillow. If that works and that gets the fluffiness you're looking for, that absolutely works. Let's see here. Beth Ann is saying she's going to be doing, I'm assuming, the polyfill stuff and whip stitch. I definitely think that's a fantastic way to learn. Oh, Jana, we'll come back to quillos. That was one of my first quilts I made. Okay, so that's a talk about pillow forms. Now, when we look at the back of our quilts, like how do we finish the back of these quilts the easiest? And so I'm not going to teach you guys how to do that here. I did a quick search this morning about envelope finishing on pillowcases, on pillows, and there was like 1,000 returns, guys. There are a ton of videos on this. I just want to show you what they look like so you know what to look for. So there is, as I said, the, stitch around, leave a little opening. Ironically, when I first learned about pillow forms, I used to have to think that I would stuff the pillow form through that 6-inch opening and did not realize that there was other closure methods. So guys, you are not alone if you're like me and wondering how to get a pillow form in a pillow. The most common is this little guy right here, and it's called an envelope. And so it is 2 pieces of solid fabric. You can get as fancy as you want with these guys. It does not have to be solid, but it is a piece of fabric that's sewn on this side and goes under just a few inches. And there's another piece of fabric on the other side that comes over a few inches. And so it overlaps about 3 inches in the middle. And it basically is meant to be a covering for the back, but it also means to get the pillow form out if you ever want to wash the pillow, right? I think someone was saying, Lindsay was saying she wished she had her pillow from high school home ec, right? Those pillows, when they get dirty, like you can't wash them because they got all that polyfill in them. So that's part of the reason, the benefit of using a pillow form is you can take it out and then you can wash it. And if you quilted it, it's going to have more durability as well. This is the most common way to go. This is very, very easy. This, when you're looking at patterns and tutorials on this, the hardest part is layering those fabrics when you're stitching your pillow together, because you have to reverse it in your mind and you have to put the longer piece underneath the shorter piece. Watch the tutorial carefully and make sure that you get those in order, because by the time you're stitching around the perimeter of your pillow, you don't want to have to unstitch it if you've layered it incorrectly. So when you're doing the envelope, be sure to go very, very, very slow and make sure your layers are in the right order. Josie has a fantastic suggestion. An old button-up shirt is good for backs of pillows because of the next finishing technique. So Josie is suggesting using an old button-up shirt. So what you could do with that, the concept is the same. And so you're going to put the 2 pieces of fabric here, but then you use the buttons on the shirt as a closure here. If you notice, this is with this envelope, depending on your pillow form, it could stretch over time. It could be kind of weird on the back. If you're just displaying this as the front of your pillow, it really doesn't matter. I'm going to show you on Dominic's green pillow that I made on the back, right? This gets kind of stretched out over time. It doesn't matter. He doesn't care. It still stays on his bed. But if it does matter to you, you can actually put buttons and buttonholes as well as snaps. Snaps are going to be easier than buttons. Buttons, the alignment is going to get real particular. And so if you don't have, if you're not using a cheater button-up t-shirt, to get those buttons and buttonholes to line up is going to be a challenge for you. Snaps will be slightly easier because you can hand stitch them in and make sure they line up, and you can just snap those together if that's worrisome to you. If this is going to be an area where the back matters and you don't want to have to worry about this envelope separating on you, then you definitely want to make sure you can get buttons or snaps in here. I've also seen, ties. You can get all sorts of crazy creative with how you close up the back, but the concept is you want it to be open so you can get the pillow form out, and so you can actually sew, so you can wash the pillow if it does get dirty. Let's see here. Marlene's saying she uses a dot of Velcro to keep them closed, especially for an overstuffed form. I think that's a fantastic idea, especially with the adhesive Velcro. You can just add a couple of tack stitches and it'll stay in place for you. Really old bed pillows folded in half work as a pillow form. Yes, Sylvia, that's exactly what those designers did at market. They grabbed those bed pillows. I never would have thought it because my mind is in the I've made a square pillow, I need a square pillow form. But they've taken those old pillows, folded them in half, and it definitely works. Marlene saying thrift store men's shirts. You can definitely use those for the back as well. In both of these cases, we've used a solid fabric. And again, it's busy. I chose this fabric because it was busy enough that it doesn't matter where this lining up is, and it's not going to be truly bothersome that it's different. You can use contrasting colors too. That's also a fun little look, especially we talked last week, color blocking is going to be a trend for this year. And so having two separate colors would be on trend for 2025. All right, now I want to show you kind of the top of complexity when it comes to finishing a pillow. I did this when I was on maternity leave with Dominic. I don't know how I had enough brain cells to do this, but I made a pillow for each of my children using an invisible zipper. And I remember thinking at the time invisible zippers were very, very hard. And then I did it. I remember thinking it wasn't that hard. But again, I had very good video tutorials to help me. So I want to show you the pillow that I made for both of my boys. One is blue and one is green. And so I know we had a comment about using panels. Mind you guys, these are like 14 years old. So they're very faded. They've been washed and well loved. But this was a panel. This was a Brown Bear panel, which we read to our kids all the time. And so I pieced it together into a quilt, and I quilted, pieced it into a relatively large block. I quilted it as well, so it has batting in here and muslin on the other side. And on the back, again, on the back of the pillow, you can get crazy. This is embroidery thread that I top stitched on just so it made kind of a parallel grid on the back of a solid fabric. And then I used an invisible zipper. And so I am surprised that after like 14 years that zipper still works. And so it is an invisible zipper. I got it at a traditional craft store. Followed the instructions, followed all the video tutorials. And the beauty of the zipper is that it makes it really easy to get that in and out. It also adds some durability, and you can't really see the closure. And so I know, my kids, when they were younger with those envelope backs, would have gotten stuff like in those little pockets and, would have stretched them out. The zipper really worked in their nurseries for, like, I could do tummy time on these. Here, I'm going to hold it the right way up. Yes, it is Eric Carl. Yes. We used like tummy time on these pillows, and because I knew that they were going to be given from birth, I wanted it to have a durable zipper so that way I could take it out, wash it, take it out, wash it, take it out, and wash it. Okay, so zipper is kind of like the top of the like complexity, but guys, I did it while I was on maternity leave. So surely if you find the right tutorial, please do not be afraid to try a zipper in your pillow. I put mine in the bottom along some piped edging, which we're going to talk about in a minute. It can be done, and again, it's your project, right? So even if it's not perfect, as long as it's functional, that's really all that matters. Shelly says she loves using zippers for her pillows. Yeah, I think, Shelly, once I did it, I'm not afraid of it anymore. You have to just do it once, and it worked, and I love it. And it's part of what I've done as I've had nephews and nieces born in their pillows. I've definitely used an invisible zipper and love it. Okay, now the outside, right? So you've got the front, you've got the back, you know how you're going to close it. The finishing on the outside is almost as, there's more options than if you had a quilt, I would say. So there's the easiest of the options, which is this guy here, right? So this is stitch the front, stitch the back, and stuff it, right? So this is just a regular 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm sure she probably did a 1/2 inch because it's a pillow, just to give it a little more stability. But this is just as easy as it gets. And in these corners, obviously there's some bulk there, so you cut the corners at 45 degrees, and I would use a chopstick to poke those corners out to make sure they get nice and even. This is as easy as it gets because this was not quilted. This was just pieced, and it has just a regular batik on the back, so there's not a lot of extra layers. This one was quite possibly the easiest one to stitch together. When we get to these guys, where'd the green pillow go? Okay, so for the green pillow, the way that I treated this was I treated it like a quilt. And so I put all of my layers together. I put my backing, I put the front that was quilted, and I just made it like it was binding. And so I stitched this on just like I would binding on a quilt and finished it just like that. So it could be contrasting fabric, it could be coordinating fabric. I looked at this pillow and I was like, all I'm doing is finishing a quilt, but with extra layers. And so I made it just a little bit bigger than I would if it was for a traditional quilt, because I knew I had some extra layers on the back. And especially in the envelope, when you're sewing through these layers here, you're going to be going through about 8 to 10 layers of fabric. And so you definitely want to make sure you have enough binding to get through those 8 to 10 layers of fabric. But I treated it just like a quilt and finished it just like I would a traditional quilt. Now, For these guys, because again, I was on some sort of crazy hormones when I was on maternity leave, I chose to wrap fabric around cording. I loved this Eric Carle fabric. And I chose to wrap the fabric around the cording. And so I stitched the cording actually inside. And then when I layered this together and stitched it, this was a right sides together and flip. I stitched that inside. And so it was actually as if it was just another layer of the quilt. So I stitched the cording in first so the cording would stay in place. And then I stitched it as just if it was another layer of my quilt, and then turned it right side out. And again, the corners for me, I always, trim them at 45 degrees, and I use my little chopstick to kind of get in the corner and push them out. But I wrapped cute fabric that I liked around the cording and actually stitched that into the pillow. Now ruffles, so Greta is going above and beyond when she asks to put ruffles into pillows. And so if I was using ruffles, I would use either store-bought pre-made ruffles. Go and buy it by the yard, already pre-made, or use a ruffler foot on your sewing machine. Now, if you guys don't know what a ruffler foot is, it is literally voodoo science. The way that the ruffler foot brings your fabric back and forward and stitches over to create ruffles for you in the fabric is, Google a video if you've never seen a ruffler foot in action. It is one of the craziest things you're going to see today. But what I would do is pre-make those ruffles, Greta, using the ruffler foot on your sewing machine. And then I would use the same stitching technique that I did on this pillow and actually just stitch them right into the seam as if it's another layer when I'm sewing the top and the bottom together, making sure that all of your ruffles are safely pinned to the inside. You definitely don't want them to kind of lap on over each other when you're finishing it, and then you have to take it apart and restitch there. So ruffles, I've done ruffles on kind of lap quilts for babies, but ruffles on a pillow would be fun and a challenge. So Greta, thank you for putting that out there. But I think it's the sew the ruffle fabric and then just put it in the edge as if it was another piece of your finishing fabric. Sonia has a ruffler foot on her featherweight. I have one on mine too. Sonia, you can tell them. It's crazy to see how the ruffler foot brings the fabric back and forth and stitches, and it is fun. Yeah, so Terry has a vintage sewing machine. The ruffler foot is fascinating. Deb Jean is saying she uses batting edging. So I don't know what that means, but I would love to know. If you could expand on that in the comments and teach all of us, that would be fantastic. Okay. Let me take a look at my notes. I think I got them all. Closures, edging, pillow forms, invisible zippers. Yes. So let's see here. Getting the perfect corners, making sure you trim your corners, even seams and consistent shape. I think pillows are slightly more forgiving than quilts because you don't have to, because it can be a little wonky shaped, right? It doesn't have to be a perfect square because you're going to be pooping it out with the pillow form. So I think there is definitely some more flexibility in pillows as a project in general. And then, I'm looking at these now. They're not perfect, but not a single child has ever said, Mom, this corner doesn't match. They still love it. Or Mom, your cording and your edging is a little off. The kids still love them. And I literally had to figure out whose I could rip off their bed this morning. Stuffing, right? So stuffing's going to degrade over time. I can see that in the pillows I have. That's part of the benefit of using a pillow form is you can just put a new pillow form in versus the stuffing where you're stitching it like our home ec pillows. Oh, and like I did on this guy here, right, where this is actually embroidery thread that I stitched across to make a grid. The concept of using embellishments, so using tassels, using piping, using fringe, that gets to the on trend for 2025 of everything being tactile. And so I know we talked about that last week, the sensory element in quilting. And so pillows are a fantastic medium to add those little embellishments for, just adding flair and making it individual and making it you. How about a flange edge? So Kim, you know what? This is the second time in a show flange edge has come up, and I actually don't know about that one. So if you could expand on that a little bit more, that would be awesome. Let's see here. So Deb Jean is saying that a batting edging is oops for stuffing edging from quilts. From quilts, there's always some allow the edges. Yes. So I'm thinking, I don't know. So we're going to take a note to come back to batting edging and flange edging. And we're going to talk about those more. We'll come back to those for next week. Let's see here. I am going to learn more and I will be able to share with you guys and Kim is going to put more information in. All right. I think that's everything I have on pillows. All right, so hopefully that's enough to make you dangerous to go out into the world to search confidently, to get these pillows done, to start making pillows, to maybe even design your own pillow. I think pillows are a fantastic stitch it and a snippet project, and I think those would be fantastic for you guys to go out and maybe even make a few quick projects, or hit your stash and get all scrappy and make a whole bunch of fun projects with pillows. So our giveaway question, which is going to be good for a $25 gift card to our shop. Find this video on YouTube, on Instagram, or on Facebook, and leave us a comment. What is your favorite pillow size or design style? So if you have a go-to size or design, or even describe what your favorite pillow is that you've ever made, go ahead and put that in the comments. We'll go through and we'll find one lucky person to get a $25 gift card to our shop. Some quick reminders, flyaway signups are still open. Go, go, go. If you love Freebird, you're going to want to watch our social media today. I finally got final word on that. Whew, it's been forever, but stay tuned for Freebird. Don't forget about our retreats. We're getting that all worked out. And join us next week. I think next week we might be talking about AI. We'll have to see where the week takes us. But as always, thank you guys so much for joining us. We really enjoyed our time together. Let's see here. Oh, Kim is saying, so I think what flange is, and so I'll follow up with Kim afterwards, is that the border around your block can be your flange, so the stuffed part is the size of the pieced block. I'm wondering if that's like actually wrapping like the front or the back around. I will find out more. Okay, fantastic. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for spending your Thursday with us. I hope you guys have a great week. I hope everyone stays warm. I hope nobody's pipes freeze wherever you are. And I hope you get tons and tons and tons of sewing in this next week. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you soon. Bye now. Thank you so much for watching our video. We have so much fun making these, and we hope that you were both delighted and inspired by what you just watched. This video was sponsored by Cotton Cuts. Cotton Cuts is your one stop for all the best fabric and thread memberships. Love fabric? We've got you covered. Love thread? We've got you covered. We get that no two quilters are cut from the same cloth, which is why our memberships are as unique as you. We also have the largest block of the month in the world. Over 4,000 detectives solve our puzzle mystery quilts every year, and you can join them. Simply go to cottoncuts.com to learn more about all the awesome and fun things that we're doing. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe to make sure you get all of our new fresh content every time it comes out. Thank you so much. Happy sewing enthusiasts, and we will see you soon. Bye now.